من اللسان يفقه قولي. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brothers and sisters of Leicester, Leicestershire, Leicester Sharif, England and the world that are listening in on this wonderful, mashallah, blessed last few days of Ramadan. I hope wherever you are, whatever you're doing, whether you're pottering around, doing your last minute Eid shopping, and in fact some of you may be just waking up and being bleary-eyed, that you are all in good health, and Jazakallah khair for tuning into Ramadan Radio, alhamdulillah. Brothers and sisters, throughout the whole month, possibly every day or every weekend, you have been inundated with countless charities. People that have been asking for needy people around the globe, and each and every charity is absolutely viable, and everybody, alhamdulillah, will be rewarded immensely for supporting those brothers and sisters around the globe that have been victims of earthquakes, who have been victims of civil war, who have been victims of famine. And it is indeed essentially our duty as Muslims. And again, you've tuned on to your radio and you're hearing that there's going to be another pledge day on Ramadan Radio. Please, my dear brothers and sisters, today we do not wish you to turn off because you have been so generous for the beginning of this month. We wish for you to continue with this generosity, because today we have something very, very close to home. Very, very close to home, that is in fact almost encroaching our own home, even though we may not be experiencing it ourselves. It's a disease, it's almost a cancer that is ravaging our communities. It is separating partners from each other. It is breaking mothers' hearts. It is destroying fathers' ambitions and dreams that they had for their children. This disease, even though we may not feel ourselves being no part of or have no experience of, I can guarantee you, for those of you that have young children, for those of you that have people in the workforce, for those of you that who are you meeting people in the masajid, I can guarantee you that there will be people out there who have come close to or have been tempted by the vice that we will be discussing today that is destroying our homes and destroying the fabric of our society. And that, my dear brothers and sisters, is the vice and the cancer and the disease of addiction, and in particularly drug addiction. So this, again, many of you may think has nothing to do with me, but I can assure you that if you stay tuned today, the stories, the tales that you are going to hear are going to at least, if not bring tears to your eyes, it's going to make you completely see this real sadness, this real disease in a completely different light. Because this addiction of whether it be drugs, whether it be alcohol, is not reserved for those only in the poor part of our society, the lower socioeconomic people. It's not only for those that don't have good parents or good families. It's not only for those that are unemployed. And we will also hear testimonies today, my brothers and sisters, that it's not only for those that are not religious. You are going to be, when I heard these stories myself, wallahi, they brought tears to my eyes. So I please request that you listen with an open heart, and you listen with an open mind, and you tune in and ask your friends and family to tune into Radio Ramadan to listen today to the tales of individuals that have been afflicted by this, and the amazing work by this charity, this organization that is tackling this. And this organization is in its infancy, and it needs the support of the people of Leicester and the people of this country to ensure it has a sound foundation so it can help and support more individuals. And this support that they will give will inevitably support us in the end, because it will protect our young children, it will protect us and our families from the harms that drugs addiction does and affects everybody. The Spinney Hill Drugs and Alcohol Addiction Support Organization is an absolutely phenomenal work that has been done. And it is, when you listen to the story, and you will listen today, you will feel that there is an external force that is helping, that is the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that is helping these brothers and sisters from taking it from where it was to where it is today. So without further ado, I want you to take these numbers down, 0116 4822 086, and then text and mobile number is 077 488 55 055 to call in to make pledges, which I will go through in a short while. But before that, brothers and sisters, you and I, we walk past things every day, and we see something, and it's human nature. We see somebody on the floor, we see a little bit of litter on the floor, we see somebody not quite looking in the right direction, looking a bit lost, how many of us stop and ask that individual if they need any help? Ask yourself that question. I'm asking myself that question. Majority of us walk by thinking he or she will find their way, or somebody else will come in and help them. But unfortunately, majority of the time, most people walk by, turn the other way. It's not my problem. We're all busy. We got jobs to go to, appointments to keep. We got people to see. We got places to go. But there are few people, alhamdulillah, in our community, for no reason whatsoever, for no external or material reason whatsoever, stop and go to these individuals and say, how can I help? And I'm so proud today to have two particular individuals who did stop, despite the fact they had nothing to do with them. They were themselves not in any form of trouble or any form of addiction, but they stopped when they saw the trouble around them and said, how can we help? What can we do to make a difference? And that is why it's an honor to be here in this studio with me with Hafiz Afzal Budi and Hafiz Mushtaq Lakri, two brothers. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah shukr.
Jazakallah, brothers. No, Jazakallah for coming. So what we're going to do is going to take this in sequence, brothers. So first of all, we're all busy. Hafiz Afzal, we're all busy. We've got lots of things to do. You, I know, are an extremely busy individual with your own family. You wouldn't have to have time for anybody else. We won't go into how many children you have.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. But what made you initially stop, and then we'll go to Hafiz Mushtaq. What made you stop and say that we needed to do something?
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. What can I say? How can I say, we grew up in a society, in an area where drugs, alcohol, addiction wasn't hidden. It was amongst our own circles of friends and people and families, etc. Allah Ta'ala, guided us to join the efforts of Tabligh Dawat, which allowed us to utilize that platform and help our immediate friends. Immediate friends.
So you come from a background of helping individuals, mashallah.
Yeah, and that was quite important because, coming into the deen and changing our own lives, I think Tabligh gave us that condition of heart that we couldn't ignore our own friends and families who are away from the path.
So you had no issues in your life?
No, not at all. Alhamdulillah.
Just keep that thought at the moment. Hafiz Mushtaq, I'd like to bring you in at this moment in time. What was your inspiration? Because likewise, you're an extremely busy individual, full-time job, you got family. If you don't mind me saying, you have children that require, extra help, etc. So, what gives you the time to come out and help these individuals?
So as Afzal mentioned, we were doing community work in various guises. We were going to meet people in the evening, sometimes elderly people, just taking time out. And we work with young people. Sometimes I was trained as a careers advisor. I'd give careers advice and guidance, help them with their education. Often parents would then approach us and say, I'm having trouble with my son. And drug taking amongst some of the young people was always a concern for parents. They'd approach us and say that I fear my son is taking drugs. Can you speak to him?
Is this just children in a certain area of Leicester, Mushtaq, or is that more, would you say, a city-wise problem?
Well, at that time, we're from Spinney Hill, Highfields, hence the name of the organisation. And we did primarily work there, but not just in that area. So when we started on this journey of establishing this organisation, we did think naively that it was something that maybe just affected those in the cities. As we began to work, and we'll discuss the journey and how we got to where we are. Like you mentioned, we realised that this is something. It has no restrictions. It affects everybody, and all demographics in all geographical locations. So we continue to work with these families. And if you're asking me for my personal motivation, it was visiting the parents and seeing that pain in their eyes of that child that they brought into this world and that hope that they had for that child. So a lot of the parents, immigrant families, emigrated here with that hope that, some of them came with nothing but the shirts on their backs, sold their land in India, came here so that their children could have a better future. And with that hope that
And many people can resonate with that. Listen.
yeah. So many children, many parents would hope that we've come here, we'll pay the debt off, my son will become educated, he'll become something, and then he would have a better life, we'd be able to have a better life.
So essentially, these are parents who are present. They are present in their children's life. These are not absent parents. They care about their children.
I think that is important. It's a very good question that, like I mentioned, this is something that affects single parents, and this is something that affects parents where both parents are present. There's a parents, children who are parents where the dad is absent, and then there are children whose parents are both present and very involved in their children's lives. It still can happen, and it does happen to all people. And this idea that it happens to the children of single parents or children of certain areas is really something we need to move away from.
Alhamdulillah. So was there any one particular point, Mushtaq, where you felt that we need to sort of galvanize this and make it formal? Was there anything that particularly happened?
It was the step change really in the type of drugs that were being consumed. So like Afzal said, growing up in Highfields, drugs were always available. They were always around. You could smell it as you walked through the park. But it was always cannabis. It was always Class B substances. And if somebody was consuming that and the parents approached us, then we could speak to them, we could give them some advice, we could give them some strategies to overcome them. But what we realized was that as things developed, there was a real step change in the types of drugs that were being consumed. So now all of a sudden people were moving away from Class B to Class A drugs. So that was cocaine, heroin. There was a
for those that are not familiar with these drugs, how does that differ from the other class drugs? Is it why are they more harmful?
It's the level of addiction, and that so if a person was on cannabis and they stopped smoking cannabis, this was the journey. This was the issue that we could tell somebody to stop smoking cannabis, and if they listen to us, they would be okay. They might miss it, but if somebody is in heroin, somebody is has become an alcoholic, you can't say to somebody stop drinking alcohol. Because if they go cold turkey, they could die from alcohol poisoning. They could die as a result of that withdrawal. It has to be managed. And so when people were coming to us and saying, look, I've got this issue. I can't stop drinking. I'm drinking this much. I'm now on Class A drugs. And then there was a development in synthetic drugs like Mamba, which had a very different effect to cocaine and heroin.
So people who are listening in, how common is these things? Is this very rare? Is it very difficult to get hold of these things, or is it just it's prevalent everywhere, or very easy to get hold of?
One of the difficult things in this field is to be able to quantify what the numbers are, because it's a very hidden problem, as you can imagine. Families want to keep it within themselves. They want to try and deal with it in-house.
So that's an interesting point then. So is this something, do you feel that we should be talking about then and discussing it in the open, if families are wanting to keep it private?
Well, there's two things with that. One is that one of the main things we had to work really hard on as an organization once we started was giving confidence to the community.
So sorry to interrupt you. We have a call. Inshallah, we'll take that call, then we can continue with the narration.
No problem.
So, caller, we can put them through, please. Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
How are you, brother? Your name?
My name is Hanif.
Hanif, mashallah. Your brother for Hafiz Mushtaq. Here, go ahead.
Okay.
Yes, Hanif.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, Hanif bhai.
How are you? How can I?
Did you have a question, brother?
Oh no, for Hafiz Mushtaq.
Yes, for Hafiz Mushtaq.
Okay, I just want to see what type of. I just want to know more about the program itself, because I'm not online at the moment. So, what type of programs are they running in their programs in Leicester?
To assist the people that are users. Yeah, Jazakallah. Great question, Brother Hanif. I think that was a good lead on. I think we're going to take Hafiz. Afzal is going to answer that particular one. So before we do that, though, what I want to tell the listeners at home, that we have a few pledge points for you. As this is not a tangible, as I said in the beginning, it's not orphanages, it's not orphans, it's not victims, it's not homeless people. So but yet this is as important for our community in this country. So what we have done is we've asking people that in order to assist this organization, you can either donate to what we call a Save a Life package. Now, saving a life is we're taking somebody from the bottom and all the way through and making them drug-free at the end. And inshallah, and that entire package costs £2,500. To save a human being's life costs only £2,500. Now, we appreciate not everybody can donate £2,500. If there's people out there, I'm sure there's many in Leicester they can. We're asking at least 10 people to donate £250. £250 to save somebody's life, to bring them back to their own senses, bring them back to their parents, bring them back to their families, bring them back to the deen. So please call and donate for £250 to save a life. We also have Support the Centre package. This keeps up the cost and the running of the rehab centre that the organisation is running on Ethel Road? Chesterfield Road. And we'll give you the address for that. And that costs £20,000 a year. So we're asking 200 people to donate £200. If we can get £200, that will keep the upkeep of the centre, so then the brothers and the sisters that are working there can concentrate on the real task at hand. Okay, so they don't have to worry about how they're going to pay the bill at the end of the month. So that's £200 a month. We're also asking for a Transform a Life package. These are 12 counselling sessions that somebody that comes into the centre can go through, that maybe haven't hit the rock bottom, but that will help them to, inshallah, beat off addiction and lead a life of normality and go back to providing for their family. And a whole 12 counselling session costs £540. So we're asking 50 people. Sorry, we're asking 10 people to donate 12 people to donate £45 each. So if you donate £45, or 12 people can donate £45, that will help one person to go through the entire transformation process of 12 counselling sessions. And the final package that we have, my brothers and sisters, which I'm sure all of us can donate to, is £30 for emergency food package. We will hear throughout the day that when people are addicted, food is very low down on their priority list. To eat, to drink, to wash, to clean. So what we are creating at this centre is to have an emergency pack which will give them the fundamentals, which will keep them going for 2 weeks, inshallah. So £30. So it's £250 to save a life, £200 to help somebody go through the entire process, £45, £200 to support the centre, £45 for somebody to go throughout the entire process, and £30 for the emergency food package. So Hafiz Abdul, on that question that we just had, what is the centre doing in order to assist? What programs are you running?
Alhamdulillah, at the moment the centre running programs alongside Turning Point. Turning Point do the practitioner work with the service users, and anybody who comes in with these issues, we leave it to the professionals to structure their care plan, give them that professional advice they need. Alongside that, we have before and after work. We try to be there with the families for family mediation, giving the family the confidence, the support, the confidence they need to help the individual come into the service and go through recovery. And alongside that, we have on a regular basis, we have a safe space in the afternoon where service users can come, they can relax, they can meet other service users, they can meet a recovery worker, they can meet and talk about their day, their problem. They might be going through a tough day that day. So instead of doing what they're doing, they've got somewhere to come. And in that place, we've got a little gym, we have therapy place, we've got a meditation place, we've got a workstation for job search, etc. And in the evenings, we have regular programs. On a Monday, we have spiritual classes. Tuesday, we have group therapy. Wednesday, we take them to the gym. We have boxing.
And you're working with professional individuals.
Yes.
So that's, I think, might be a question many people are asking. So it's not just you are running it in the background, but you're employing professional people to do this.
Yes, because it's work that's only professionals should be addressing. It's not something which we can't do, but we choose not to do because of other factors, experience, and there's other mental health issues around them, and so
it's more encompassing. Tell me a little bit more about this centre that you have. What kind of haven is that? What is that kind of safe space for people?
It's like a well-being centre now. We've moved on to the model where there's like a one-stop shop, well-being centre, therapeutic place, And it's
everybody's welcome.
Everybody's welcome.
So people are feeling they might be judged or they've done.
So for example, in Ramadan, we've got Salah. And we get together for Asr, we get together for Iftari, we get together in the day. So people can walk in and in the condition they are in. And the only thing you're going to find is positivity. Someone sending them
So I just want to ask that if they particularly feel they're not particularly religious or anything, is that going to be hindrance? So we're welcoming everybody, brothers and sisters.
And sisters, we have another day for sisters. We have a group of sisters, Basha, who manage them, support them. And when somebody is not religious, they just come in and they will just relax. Around the center, there's positivity, and people who have shared experience, who have lived experience. They will share their experience, they will share their day, they will share their pain. And somebody there will resonate with them and say, you know what, I've been through the same. And this is what I did.
Just on that, Shakar, one of our service users, he said that at the start of Ramadan, he decided to make a concerted effort to go to the mosque. And he goes, he went on that first day, and the looks that he got, the vibe that he got, the negativity he got, as a result of that, he goes, since that day I've not been back to the masjid in Ramadan. Okay. And even places which are set up to support people, even they do not welcome drug addicts and alcoholics. And one of the things is that we try to do, one of the stated aims of our project is to humanize the addict, because there is a real stigma. They're almost dehumanized in the eyes of many people. If they walk in, somebody will hold on to the bag a bit longer. And we want to humanize the addict, that addiction is just a part of who they are. There is a person behind that who is somebody's son, somebody's brother, somebody's father. And that's the aim. And it's like Afzal mentioned, one of the key things of the center is that it's a safe space. They can come there, and one of the things is that somebody will come, they'll start going into recovery, and then they'll relapse. Then they'll feel a bit ashamed that, look, all these brothers have done so much, how can I show off my face again? But we're very careful that, okay, brother, it doesn't matter. You've had a bad day, you've had a bad weekend, you've slipped up, doesn't matter, come back, we're still here.
So you're not judging anybody and giving them as many opportunities as they need.
Yeah, we're not judging them, and we're not disappointed in them just because they've relapsed, because we understand just how difficult it is to kick an addiction, to overcome an addiction.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. Look, my brothers and sisters and youngsters that are listening at home, we really need to get the ball rolling now, alhamdulillah. If you can pick up the phone, 0116 4822 086, and text is 077 488 55055. Who is going to be the first person that is going to start the ball rolling, inshallah, and get the rewards for everybody else? Inshallah, get the ball rolling. So please call in. Please call in, and with whatever donation, whether it's the £250 to save a life, £200 for supporting the centre, £45 for transforming a life, and £30 for a food package. So please, can you just please call in, text in. We want the first caller to come in and ring in and donate to this wonderful work. You heard what the two brothers have said. They've set up a center. They saw the problems that was coming around them. It wasn't affecting them directly, but because we as Muslims, we cannot stand by. Look, there's an African proverb that says, it takes a whole village to raise a child. It takes a whole village to raise a child. We're living in times, my dear brothers, that even in our homes where they may be sitting inside upstairs, we do not know what is influencing their minds. And then they go to school for the rest of the day. We do not know who's influencing them. So please do not think, this is not a problem that's affecting me. My children are safe. My family are safe. It has got nothing to do with me. Brothers and sisters, we all are responsible for each other. So please pick up the phone. Please send that message for that first donation. I want to ask a little bit more, Hafiz Afzal. You were, before the show began, you were telling me about some cases. So if I was to ask you what your typical day was to look like, and if I was to ask you if there's one thing that makes you think, I can't give this work up because of one story of one incident. So what does your typical day look like, first of all?
MashaAllah, good question. Sometimes I ask myself, what's going to continue motivating me? Because it's not easy. And you know what it is? It's the smiles and it's the outcomes from individuals, as well as seeing the unity of the family get back together, fabric of the family get back together. There's one story really stands out. which up to today, it touches me and it really affects me in a emotional way, in a positive way, for us to continue doing this work. There's one brother, months ago, a year ago, and since he's passed away, but a known family, respectful, but one brother, sadly, from that group of brothers, he so estranged, and he, went on that path, and for whatever reason, he may have done that, but he ended up as a heroin addict. And to be heroin dependent is not easy, not nice. Your body can't function. You can't function. You got to wake up. He used to wake up. Before he could function, he would take his line. He would take his hit.
Brother, we'll hold on to that story. We have a caller. Alhamdulillah, maybe this is our first donor, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Who is on the call?
Sophia.
Sophia, mashallah. Thank you so much for calling in, Sophia. What would you like to say? How much would you like to donate?
I'd like to donate one Transformer Life for £45 and one emergency food pack for £30.
Allahu Akbar. Takbir.
Allahu Akbar.
Come on, brothers. Takbir.
MashaAllah.
MashaAllah.
Sister May Allah bless you. May Allah bless you. May Allah accept. May Allah.
Sophia, you are the first caller, so you will now, inshallah, get reward for everybody else that calls in.
MashaAllah.
Would you like to say salam to anybody?
I'd like to say salams to my whole family and the whole ummah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Jazakallah khair for the first call. That's Sister Sophia. From the sound of it, she sounded very young. So inshallah, I'm sure there's many others that can call in. So please keep dialing. Please keep dialing Radio Ramadan and make your pledges, brother. This is a completely not-for-profit organization. They take, it's immense amount of work to go out your way. And we are just hearing that now of how difficult it is to continue doing this work. So Hafiz, please continue.
So our strategy of work is that we try to, initially when we get a call, we do a risk assessment, and if possible, we would go and visit the individual and collectively bring the family together to help this individual, understand the problem, give family hope. Okay, we are here now, we're your extended family. We're your children, we're your brothers, we're your sisters, whoever, but we are here to help you and to help this individual overcome his problem. And now people call in at time of desperation when they need the help. So it's an opportunity for us to come and really, really give them 100%. We try our best. So this individual, his brother-in-law came to me and said, look...
How old was this individual?
He was about 35, 30.
So he's a grown man, yeah?
Grown man. One child, separated, living in a hostel. As soon as he used to wake up, he used to take his fix in order for him to function. Otherwise, he couldn't function at all. There was no way he can spend a day without taking his fix. So he would take his fix and his day would start. So his brother-in-law said, we need to go and see my brother-in-law. I said, no problem, let's go. We went to see him. He was living in a hostel. Shocked to see us. Introduced ourselves. Told him why we are here. Told him, mashallah, you wanted to be of help. You do want to? He goes, yeah, I do want to be of help. And from there, our journey started. It was a good few months just conversing. Salam, how are you? How's today? How is it going? When you coming to the center? When you coming for help? I'm coming, I'll come. A day came when he said, you know what? I'm coming today. I need help. So he came. And it took good few months of conversations. He never came overnight. It was good few months of interacting.
It's a testimony to you that you kept engaging with him.
You got to. Mm-hmm. We had to.
You don't take no for an answer,
no,
I think.
We don't take no for an answer. So alhamdulillah, he engaged. Once he engaged, then we sat down, we brought professionals in now. And they started looking at his situation, and his body was quite dependent. Without that, he couldn't move. So they brought a reduction plan. How can he reduce him to a level where he can get detoxed safely? But in that time, situation became worse for him. And he couldn't wait that long for him, because locally, for him to go to a recovery reduction plan, it takes months. Because they do it professionally, they do it slowly, they make sure the guy is safe.
And time was running out for this individual.
And he really wanted to change. And I remember the day we went to see his mother. Mother was in tears. Allah. Old mother in tears to see her son making a positive change. Family, sisters all above, elated, happy, optimistic. They've got this hope that my brother's going to change. Then one day, he said, I want to go away. I want to change. So he went away for a few months to a professional rehab. And in that rehab, he spent his 2-3 months there. And really, really, mashallah, in that rehab, he really fixed himself up. He went with the right intention, the dedication, the commitment. And he knew age is not on his side. He's getting older day by day. He's got a child. He's got his family. He's got a lot to lose. And he never wanted to be in a day. In that day, in anybody in that position, they hate the day. They hate to be in that position. And believe you me, they don't like it when they hit it.
No, I can
They
imagine.
don't like it. They hate every second of it.
Just hold on there. We've got a question here. Just reconfirming, this is for the Spinney Hill Drugs and Alcohol Addiction Support. So we had a text message. They wanted to know exactly who this organization was. It's Spinney Hill Drug and Alcohol Addiction Support, doing fantastic work within our community to take and save families, saving individuals, bringing back people to humanity, bringing back people to Allah from addiction. So they are doing some fabulous work. So please donate as generously as you can. Yes, Ji Hafiz.
And just remember, at that time, there was no religious encouragement. Only thing we told him was turn to Allah. That's it. Ask Allah for help.
So there's no pressure there.
No pressure. We told him.
Allah, your words are obviously making an effect, Hafiz. So we've had £100 donation, mashallah, £100 donation on text, and we'll give to Hafiz.
Takbir!
Alhamdulillah. Allah bless, Allah reward, Allah accept.
Allah accept.
So there was no religious encouragement other than telling him Allah loves you. We always say Allah loves you. Allah's looking over you.
So it's
Allah
built on the
wants
premise
that.
of love, nothing
That's
else.
it, nothing.
Subhanallah.
We are here because Allah wants us to be here. You are doing what because Allah wants you to do this. So remember, Allah is with you all the way. So at that time, he said, okay, no problem, I'm here. So when that situation came where he had to exit out, where something in his heart was compelling him, I want to get out of this, and I want out. I can't wait 6 months, 12 months to go through recovery. Where can I go? So he went to a place, which he found, and he went to that place for 3 months. In that place, they worked on him spiritually, medically. He was detoxed. He was, he brought his health back together. There was therapy done. There was a whole package of therapies and different counseling methods, and was utilized to help the individual. In 3 months, he came back, and maybe our brother Naeem can also advise us, for a person to come off heroin in 3 months is not a joke.
Considering he must have been an addict for a little while before that.
A long time.
Long time.
And the minimum is £50 a hit. He's taking on himself on a daily basis for him to survive and function.
So the financial...
And he doesn't enjoy it. Otherwise he could die. Just to survive. And anyway, he came back. And after 3 months he came back. I remember the day he went, his mother was in tears. I remember the day he went, his family were so amazed and so...
Because you brought somebody back to life almost.
Back to life.
Alhamdulillah.
And I still got his picture, and leaving his bag.
The mother has got her son back. The sister has got her brother back.
His mother, I can see her mother on her bed because she was disabled.
Allah.
Tears said, my son, I've got you.
And this is just your work. You kept persevering. You gave him
love. The whole
love.
Spinney Hill team, mashallah.
Mashallah.
Everybody
and for 3 months.
played a
Listen,
part.
brothers and sisters, this is what this organization is doing. That's why we're calling it Saving a Life package, because they are indeed saving people's lives. Ji, carry on.
So he comes back after 3 months. Now coming back here is a hard work. But in them 3 months, there was a lot of engagement with the family. There was a lot of work done with the family in order to prepare the family, prepare family to be able to cope and manage with him when he comes back. Because the hard work is when he comes back.
Yeah.
He's coming back to reality, innit?
Yes, absolutely.
He's come back from a safe home, coming back here to the world which
to
he
the
left.
temptations again.
So those 3 months, those 6 months which he was with us was so important, because that time Spinney Hill played a massive part. Because had we not had the evening classes, had we not had a center, he would not have had a place to come to.
So if I could just ask, if you were, when you met him before and met him after, was he even recognizable now? Or was he just a completely different person?
Completely different person.
MashaAllah.
Wallahi, completely different person. Before and after, you see the pictures, you'll be shocked. You'll be shocked.
Before and after.
With one brother, he goes, I look at my picture before, and I said, I don't want to be that person ever again.
Yeah.
And he's kept that picture just for him to motivate himself that I don't want to end up like that ever again. And you look at him now, he looks like a completely different person. But anyway, he comes back, he kept on engaging. While he was there, he fell in love with the action of dhikr and namaz.
Subhanallah.
So in one masjid, in Jami Masjid, I work from there, my office is there. I will see him play Zuhur namaz. And you see this individual, you can't miss him. He's a big lad. And he's there 5 times a day in namaz after he comes back. He held fast onto that.
Subhanallah.
And he used to come into the center to engage in a group work. In a dhikr, collective zikr and a group work and a spiritual classes. Do you know, Allah wanted it was such. 6 months, he left a legacy. He started a business, started his own business. MashaAllah. He got up, he's a very intelligent lad. MashaAllah, he got up, he got a little warehouse, he started his own business.
So after rehab, within 6 months.
Within 6 months. And he used to tell me, Afzal, I've got something prepared for Spinney Hill, which I'm going to keep as Sadaqah Jariyah. The profits that we're going to make from it is going to go to the organization.
He's going to contribute to society now in a positive way, mashallah.
And he goes, that's my dream.
From draining society, he's positive just because of the time that you gave him.
And then he didn't know what happened was in that 6 months, there was so much love between us and everybody, him. And his family was so amazed. Well, you can ask his family, their memories which they will not forget till today. And after 6-7 months passed away, he sent me a message one day. I said, you know what? Guess what? I said, what? I'm getting married.
Oh, Allah.
I said, you know what? Subhanallah. I still got a message on my phone because I'm getting married. My nikah soon. I said, you know what? I hope you don't forget me in the walima because how can I? I can't forget Spinney Hill. So he, in his walima, his preparations, he's preparing for his marriage. One day we wake up, to see, you know what? I get a phone call from his brother. He's passed away. I said, what do you mean he's passed? I spoke to him 2 days ago. He's passed away. I said, impossible. That shook us. And wallahi, it brings tears to our eyes to say, this brother, from where he was to what he is today, what he was, not one person from the community or from his family can ever remember the past.
Gee.
Only thing remember is that we found our brother. The child finds, I found my dad.
You took him from almost the gutter,
Son
polished
says,
him.
the mother said, I found my son. And nobody can remember the bad of this individual. Because 6 months he was really, really, really active. And Namazi, which you can't miss with a big lad. Everyone knew that he's there, his zikr. And he goes, I'm falling in love with zikr. I said, why? He goes, I'm getting with Rumi, rahmatullah, all this. Because I'm getting so intrigued about the importance of doing zikr, how that nourishes the soul. And I'm going to study more and more. I said, brilliant.
And this is just one example. My dear brothers, that's just incredibly moving
to see
story.
Somebody, live a life, pass away a death, which is memorable for everybody to think about. And to say, you know what? It was worth it.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
It was well worth it.
And I can't imagine the look on the mother's face when you brought him back.
Amazing.
Because speaking to parents, they don't recognize their children.
They don't.
And the children don't know who they are.
They don't.
And then when you bring that back to a parents, and the du'as that you will be getting from the parents will inshallah be a guiding light in the hereafter.
110%.
And
it's a day-to-day thing. We are.
And this is your day that you don't know who you're going to meet.
Are there as a shoulder for someone to cry on, for somebody to offload, and for somebody to say, you know what, it's not all that bad. We're here for you. It's going to get better.
Yeah,
it's going to get better.
And the people of Leicester will be here for them, inshallah. I have full confidence in our brothers and sisters who are listening at home. 0116 4822 Please call. You've heard this story. This brother that was living, who wasn't living, who was actually the living dead. He was no use to anybody. He was stealing. He was probably just surviving. And only thing he thought of before he went to bed was his heroin fix. When he woke up was his heroin fix. His whole day was a heroin fix. At the end, he became a loving son. He was about to become a loving husband. And he was opening up his own business just because this team here took him out, spent 3 months with him. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made him a regular salah, prayer, zikr, and ashik of Rumi. Alhamdulillah, this is just one example. I'm sure there's many, many more that Hafiz Afzal could give. But I think this is a great time for me to bring in our next guest, especially as we're talking, and I hope Brother Naim won't mind me saying this, but he's got his own personal journey. So we've got Brother Naim. Brother Naim, if you can introduce yourself, please, because you may not be familiar with some of our brothers and sisters that are listening.
My name's Naim. I'm from up north.
No, he's got that northern accent, lads.
I'm here to kind of support Spinney Hill project.
And do you do this professionally now?
So I work in the field of substance misuse. I've been working in this field for over 16 years now.
16, mashallah. And what brought you into the field?
So I suppose in terms of bringing me into this line of work is my personal experience. So
would you mind sharing that with us?
I have lived experience. Yeah. In 2001, I lost my leg because I used to be an injecting heroin crack user.
Allah.
My journey kind of started at the age of around 17.
You actually lost the physical use of your leg.
I've had an amputation basically. So I have a prosthetic leg. So in around 93, it kind of started for me. We kind of got into using cannabis, and unknowingly, which is back then unknowingly, we got into using heroin.
So it was a stepping stone from cannabis to the next step.
Yeah, for us it was. People ask the question always that if someone smokes, are they going to go on to using cannabis? If someone uses cannabis, are they going to go on to using Class A drugs? That's not always the case.
It's not a trajectory.
It's not always the case. For me, yes, it was. For our circle of friends, yes, it was in that sense. But we were very naive at that age. When we first got introduced to heroin, we didn't even know it was heroin, as an example. And as daft as it sounds, it was recreational use initially. 6 months down the line, we still didn't know we were using heroin. We weren't using on a daily basis or anything like that. We were just using casually, weekends or anything, an event or something, for example, we'd kind of end up using. But with anything, and you've heard the story, Hafiz Afzal's kind of just mentioned, heroin addiction is an addiction which kind of really does grip you. I mean, the terminology they use for heroin is the devil's drug. That's how people will refer to it.
Shaitan's drug, right?
Shaitan's drug, yeah. It's very addictive, rapidly very addictive, and you've already heard it's very expensive.
Can I just ask, in terms of your family background, you from a stable family?
Alhamdulillah, stable family, Muslim family.
MashaAllah.
No history of drug use within the family.
And we'll be hearing this throughout the whole days, brothers and sisters, that this can affect and afflict everybody. So please keep tuned, inshallah.
So yeah, from a alhamdulillah, good family, reputable family.
And I think your words are having an effect. We've just had a mashallah £50 donation from a sister from Batley.
Alhamdulillah.
Takbir.
Allahu Akbar.
Jazakallah for your donation. We'll use that for the emergency food package. Jazakallah.
So kind of that's where my journey kind of started in terms of using substances. But what I want to more talk about is my journey coming from the community, from a Muslim community, from a South Asian background, and the challenges and the, you've already mentioned this topic is a taboo topic. People don't like to talk about it. People tend to sweep it under the carpet. Hafiz Afzal will say many, but it's real. It's happening. It's not something which we need to really start accepting that this is reality. This is happening in our community. So for me,
we can't sweep it under the carpet.
We can't because from what we see and what my experience is telling me, the problem's getting worse. And it's having an impact on children who are even younger and younger. Again, we get.
What's sort of one of the youngest ages you would have dealt with?
So one of the youngest ages that's come to us from a madrasa perspective, who come to us saying, can you come in and do a talk around substances or anything like that, is the age of 12, 11, 12.
12-year-olds. So look, just take that in, brothers and sisters. 12-year-olds are having issues with drug substance abuse.
So my kind of personal experience in terms of from coming from that background is the challenges that I faced in terms of accessing treatment. I had an issue, it got so bad, obviously addicted to it, using on a daily basis, using large amounts, etc., started moving on to injecting. And the challenges were when the family eventually found out.
When you're in that state, brother, can anybody talk to you with reason, like your parents, or do you become a very different individual?
Oh yeah, it changes you. You're a very different person, but you don't want to be in that situation. Nobody wants to be an addict. Let's get this right. Nobody enjoys being an addict. They know.
So they feel as, excuse the expression, the way they look. Sometimes you see people looking very depressed and very unhappy. Is that how they're feeling inside?
That's how they're feeling inside. It's a medicine. Basically becomes your medicine. Hafiz Afzal mentioned it. You need it to function. It's no longer for the enjoyment of the buzz or anything like that. It's more about to be able to get up in the morning, to be able to go out shopping, to be able to do normal things, you need that just to be able to function. Because if you don't, you're not going to move anywhere, you know, and you go into withdrawal and severe withdrawal, and, you know, and it's quite intense. So nobody wants to be an addict as such. So but for me, my challenges were the community. That was the biggest challenge in terms of accessing treatment, accessing the right support. Because we eventually, when family found out, it became an issue, right, we need to deal with it. No one should find out. You know, we need to deal with it in-house.
Which is maybe not the right, but it's a completely understandable thing to do. Every family would not want to expose their children, or their problems to the community.
Yes, but what I will say there is, and my learning, and anyone will tell you, usually the family are the last to find out. Regardless of what people think, people in the community know. You know, that's the community that we live in. People see changes in people. You know,
that is a very sobering thought for people out there who think that, you know, we are safe. It's not happening in our homes.
No. And people's, you know, demeanor changes. Their physical appearance changes. Their behavior, the way they speak, the way they act, and everything changes. So people notice that. People aren't stupid, and people know. So usually the family are the last to find out. So the instant reaction from the family was to lock me up, keep me in the house, chaperone, go cold turkey. And just to give you an understanding, like Hafiz Azul mentioned around heroin, something to understand about our heroin withdrawal is, I'll give you an example. If you've ever had really bad severe flu, multiply that by 100.
Allah.
That's what a heroin withdrawal is like.
Allah.
Sickness, diarrhea, vomiting, you know, hot sweats, cold sweats, really, really intense. And that isn't just for a day. It can last up to 3 to 5 days.
And that must be hard for a mother to see, for a child to go through.
Absolutely. It's hard for that individual as well. And it doesn't end there. It's a long process. It's not an easy process to get through. People think, yeah, he's done the hard bit, he's gone cold turkey, should be fine now. It takes a long time to get back to normal, any kind of normality. So that was my kind of journey in terms of the first. But all that used to happen for me was, I called it getting my freedom back, and I'd basically go back to doing it. And over the years, that cycle, I must have been through that cycle about 15 times. Just out, family finding out, lock up, you know, that whole kind of thing. And eventually in 2001, that's when I ended up in hospital. Because I used to inject, and one of the injecting areas is the groin area, which people use because veins, etc., collapse. And that caused infection.
So by this stage, it must have been very late stages. You must have used up most of your body, I suppose.
Most of the body, veins, yeah.
So did you get professional help at this stage?
No. So no, I didn't. I ended up in hospital, and then through an infection, and then had to have basically, to cut long story short, I had to have an amputation. But that didn't stop me. When I came back out of hospital, I had no intention of using, but because I hadn't had the professional help, it kind of led me back to using. And I was going back, and that cycle didn't finish until around, it was actually 2005.
So 5 years later?
5 years later.
And is that when you got your professional help? And what would you say the difference of professional help made, Brother Naeem?
It gives you that understanding. You're not aware of what's happening, how to deal with the issue. It's like any kind of job. How can you do a job if you don't understand how to do the job? It's the same process. And that's when kind of made changes for me. And that's when a year later I got a job in service. And that's the only reason I came into this line of work, is because I don't want other people to go through the same experiences I go through.
So you're now a supporter of people that go through this.
Yeah.
You've learned from your experience.
Yeah.
MashaAllah.
So since 2006, I've been working in this field now.
So you've gone through the addiction, you got your professional help, you've sacrificed, well, you've had to pay with your leg
yeah.
And untold countless other problems as well. So we've had a message here, alhamdulillah, we need more of these programs, mashallah, brilliant and needed project, alhamdulillah. This is the testimony for the work that are doing. For those that wish to donate, please call the station and you can make a direct donation. One of the brothers and sisters will take payments, or you can do a cash donation outside the radio station, which is on Evington Road, outside the Jaiwala. There'll be people there willing to take, ready to take your money as well if you wanted to pay by cash. Otherwise, please call in 0116 4822 086, and the brothers will explain to you how to explain how we will be able to take payments. So please call in and donate. We've actually just had a donation from another sister who has donated £45. Already made an online payment, mashallah, to transform a life. So takbir.
Mashallah.
The sister says, please don't mention my name, but her name begins with the letter A and ends with the letter A. I won't say what it is. Carry on, brother.
So it was because of my own experience I came into this line of work, because I understand what it is from a community perspective. Now, one of the issues from a community perspective that you feel and you get, which is completely, I talk about this and why the spiritual element.
So why is the community so important?
The community is important because sometimes the community don't help that individual. So naturally what happens is we see people that we know who are using, for example, substances or are in addiction, and even going down the wrong path, as people would call it. What do we find? We find people crossing the road.
Yeah, so they want to...
They cross the road from them. So all you're doing is isolating that individual and pushing them further out. Now, Islamically, understanding the importance of salam, how the Prophet ﷺ told us that spread salam. And I'll tell you why that's important. Because the time that individual, say you see an individual walking down the street and you know that they're not in a good place, instead of crossing the road, you continue walking down that path and you make salam to them. That salam, I'll tell you how long it makes that individual feel, you know what, someone's taken the time out to give me salam.
SubhanAllah. As Hafiz Mushtaq was saying, humanizing people.
Humanizing people, that affects the heart of that individual. And that's the importance, that's what it does. But when we cross the road, has completely opposite
Dehumanizes them.
Dehumanizes them, and we push them out.
So you see this problem, you were part of the problem, you set something up in which town?
Dewsbury.
In Dewsbury, in Batley, up north.
Yeah.
We know it's a need everywhere up and down the country. So what support and what do you see the future should look like in towns and cities where it's a problem, and everywhere, but where the Muslim community are there? We know it's a problem, whether we like to talk about it or not.
But this is where the importance...
Alhamdulillah, just brother, I think we've got a call, mashallah. We've got a call. Please put the call. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Can I have your name?
Yeah, my name's Sophia.
Sophia, mashallah. There's a second Sophia of the day. What would you like to donate, Sister Sophia?
I'd like to donate £45, please.
Mashallah.
Takbir! Allahu Akbar!
Allah bless you, mashallah.
Mashallah. Give you plenty barakah and make also all your wishes come true. How old are you, Sophia?
I'm 45.
45, you sounded so young on the radio. Jazakallah khair. Would you like to say...
That's my brother-in-law.
Oh, mashallah. That's your brother-in-law. So it should be £450 then, right? No, mashallah. Do you would like to give salam to anybody else?
To my nephews, Mustafa, Mikhail and Zain, please.
Oh, mashallah. Jazakallah khair, Sister Sophia. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you and reward you immensely. And may you be an inspiration for many other people to call. Jazakallah khair. Really appreciate it. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Brother. So we were saying, where do you see? So we know it's a problem. You've set something up north. What would your ideal situation look like? Ideally, nobody's taking drugs, but whilst the problem is there, what do we do?
I think it's exactly what Spinney Hill are doing. It's having for the Muslim community, because people think that people who are in addiction from the Muslim community are completely far from Deen. Mm-hmm. That might be true to an extent, but you know what? Deen is still important to them. Deen was always important to me. I know I was doing wrong, but it was still important.
Yeah, never judge the sinner, isn't it?
Never, no. So for me, it's about having that professional help and the spiritual help.
Alhamdulillah, we've just had another donation. Takbir for £50.
Allah.
A transfer.
Takbir! Allah!
And I think this is really important. I think Hafiz, can you just read that? What this donor has said. I think it's really, really powerful.
I have donated £50 by bank transfer online banking. Words cannot express the gratitude for your work. Addiction is terrible thing to go through. Unfortunately, our community doesn't understand it. We as a family have been through this. May Allah reward you. There's so much to say about this. Let's keep the conversation open so you're not comfortable to speak on air.
MashaAllah. Jazakallah khair for your words. This is, we are not as a community, as a brothers explaining, sometimes very difficult. But alhamdulillah, these brothers and sisters have opened up that conversation. So let's continue that. Do you carry on?
I think so. Yeah. So for me, the spiritual element is so important, and that message just also reflects the fact that holistic approach. So it's not just about that individual; it's about the loved ones around that individual to ensure that they're getting the support as well. Because it's very important to give them the support as well as the individual.
So the family, the support.
The family, the support.
And you talked about spiritual and professional, and it has to be a combination of the two.
Yeah, absolutely. It has to be a combination of the two. Yeah. You know, the spiritual element in terms of the guidance from the scholars and the ulamas and getting the right people and giving the individuals that option. It's not a forced on, it's an option.
And that's a very important point, isn't it?
Absolutely. We're not here to force anyone. And
so it's not a prerequisite. So we just make it clear to all our listeners.
100%.
It's not a prerequisite.
Yeah.
Okay.
You see, and you know, that's kind of alongside the professional help. And the professional help is going to hopefully get them through to understand what the issues are, to rectify, to understand, to identify their issues, why they're using, what's going on, how is it affecting them, how does it work on the brain? Because people don't have this understanding. So you've got to, until you don't understand something, how can you deal with it? So the professional element is give that understanding to the individual. So hopefully then he can.
I just like to say that we would what we lack as an organization is professionals on board. We would love to have professional expertise on board, even if it be an hour a week. For one
Have you tried to contact any professionals at the moment, or?
We have put the word out, but I guess they're very busy.
I'm sure there's plenty of professionals that are listening to this. I'm not going to say their names to embarrass them.
With skills like CBT, psychotherapy, whatever profession they've got, which can help contribute towards someone's recovery.
So those brothers and sisters who are listening, who are in this field, please call in and give your time.
And we'd love to hear from you.
You know, the Leicester is full of professionals in every field, especially the pharmaceutical, the mental health. We have doctors, we have consultants who are on the shows as well. Please call in and support and advise and direct.
Of course, and spend some time and give some time to the individual, to the family. We are volunteer organization. Everybody is volunteers, you know, and we would love to have them with the professional on board to help and work with us alongside us.
So, brother, you were saying that...
And name can, you know...
And I think that's important. One thing is important to understand is that people don't come with one problem. They have multiple issues people will bring. For example, it might be substance misuse with mental health, domestic abuse. You know, all these other ailments that are affecting individuals. It's not one fits all. That if you
so we need a professional setup with a holistic approach contributed by professionals and the religious aspect of it.
That's right.
So you've got a center similar to that in Batley.
We're behind.
Name has come to support us. We found him. We took in his expertise. He's part of our team, and it's a model, pilot model, which we hope to be replicated across the country one day as well, inshallah.
You've made a plea out there for our professionals. Okay, what is your plea to our clerical community, to our ulama, to our masajid? What is your message to them?
Alhamdulillah, look, our masajids, our ulama, you know, maybe once upon a time it would have been difficult for us to speak to them. But now this time, alhamdulillah, we've had loads of support from ulama.
So they have been receptive to this?
They've been very receptive.
It's not been a case that,
not at all.
This is nothing
Actually,
to do with us.
We've had madrasas, Darul Ulooms, Islamic schools calling us, say, come and do a program with our kids. Again, it comes back to the team we need. We need professionals to put together a presentation.
Mm-hmm. A professional.
You know? So this way we've got people crying out. We've had ulama say, come and set up a rehab. Do it. They've given us du'as. No ulama who comes to Leicester, they don't come to our centre.
Who has come to Leicester?
We've had Mawlana Sulaiman Ravat, Mawlana Sulaiman Mullah.
South Africa.
We've had Mawlana Muhammad Madni. We've had Mawlana Abdul Rahim Saab, Mawlana Bilal Saab, Mawlana Sheikh Sindhi, Mawlana Imran Saab.
So you've got local and international.
Alhamdulillah, have come and they've all given us dua.
You had somebody from Manchester yesterday as well.
Yes, Sheikh Awadullah, mashallah. Mawlana Ayub Saab, Dawatul Haq. Everyone who's come, they've given us dua. Mawlana Ayub Saab gave us £100.
MashaAllah.
Whatever money he had,
so if Mawlana Ayub can give us £100, mashallah, I'm sure the kind people of Leicester can give £100. Our donations are getting a bit slow, my dear brothers and sisters. You've heard the need. You've heard the work that they're doing. They are literally saving lives of our brothers and sisters, of our own children. Don't see them as anybody else's children. Don't see them as anybody else's problem. Don't see them as anybody else's brothers and sisters. This affliction affects everybody, good homes, bad homes, and I keep repeating throughout the day, you'll hear from sisters, you'll hear from religious institutions or individuals, you hear from people who are professionals who have been afflicted by this. It can affect anybody. So please pick up the phone and make a donation, inshallah. We are looking for £250 to save a life. We're looking for £200 so the brothers and sisters can work without having to worry about the centre that they're looking after. We're looking for £45 for a counselling session to transform somebody's life, to bring a person back to their mothers, bring them back to their fathers, bring them back to their wives, bring them back to their children, bring them back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's just £45 we're asking for, my dear brothers and sisters. And these brothers and sisters also need emergency food packages. So £30 will provide enough food for them and enough basic resources that you give them to see them through 2 weeks, washing material, etc. And probably last even longer. So please call in. So we've seen we need a center, we need a holistic approach. We need contributions from our professionals. We need contributions from our religious communities. And what I'm going to delve into in a little while, inshallah, is the importance of the religious aspect of it. And why this organization and what brother was just telling us, why he found that the religious aspect of it was important. So if you can give from your perspective.
Yeah, can I just, before we move on in terms of that element, just finish off on what I was saying previously. So we all have a collective responsibility. From an Islamic perspective, we all have a collective responsibility. These are our brothers, these are our sisters. What I see a lot of, and I did a program just last week, and I said this in that program, we've all heard the stories of the house burning next door. Okay?
SubhanAllah, perfect example.
If we don't do anything, do we think our house is going to be safeguarded? If the house next door is burning and we don't put that fire out, do you not think it's going to affect our house? It's that same form. This is what people need to understand and think about as well. One of the other things as well that we really want to try and establish and develop here when you talk about, what is the future? What do we see? The next stages is looking at creating an Islamic-based rehab, because there's none in this country whatsoever. And that's something I know Spinney Hill and will be, they're working on currently, is looking at hopefully, inshallah, creating a center, a rehab center where people can go away to, for 3 months, 6 months, get spiritual support, the professional support, all of it combined in one.
Is there any examples of this around the world?
There is in South Africa, my understanding is.
So there's a center in the South?
There's a center in South Africa. How it's structured and that is very different.
But we're lacking that in the UK at this moment.
Massively in the UK. There's a massive need for it in the UK. And the thing about this is services will pay for it. Accessing your local service, they have the funds to be able to pay for someone to go to rehab.
Okay, so we can access
local services. So it's not always that it has to come out of your pocket. It can do if you want to, and some people do, but there is support out there.
So that would be your ideal situation that we have. So what would be different from that what is being provided at the moment? Is it more?
It's very community-based. It's from centres, for example. It's not to go away and kind of really concentrate on it 24/7. Live away from it, get out of the area, that kind of stuff. So it's not, we haven't got that.
Isolated.
It's isolated in a different area, giving them a more holistic in terms of support mechanism, package.
So everything that you said, so it's a professional support, holistic, and a religious base on it. So that's a good point to bring in our next guest. We've got Brother Khalil. Brother Khalil, if you can just come up. Yeah, if you can introduce yourself, Brother Khalil.
Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum
My name is
assalam.
Khalil Saeed. Alhamdulillah, I'm part of the Spinney Hill team, and we work on the spiritual side of the approach to healing. And alhamdulillah, like brother mentioned, that it's it's a holistic approach, and it's important to have all aspects of our existence, physical, mental, and spiritual. And to have a spiritual approach is very, very important, because spiritually, a person may be getting treatment in terms of physical or mental support, but spiritually they need that support from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we guide people towards their directing their lives in reliance on Allah. Like Hafiz Sahib mentioned, once a person gets the taste and the enjoyment in connecting to Allah, in dhikr, in remembrance of Allah, that gives them a completely different boost and a different energy to live with.
So from addiction to drugs to addiction to Allah.
Definitely. Alhamdulillah, that's the path. And if we, like brother was saying, that we don't have in the UK a place where a rehab where it's faith-based, and we have other faiths that do the work, and they use their books, they use their literature, they use other methods of approach, which doesn't work for our Muslim community. And unfortunately, around the world, there's very, very few rehab centers that are faith-based, Muslim Islamic-based centers. And it's important for us and our community to understand that how important it is for us to actually think about that as a community, because this is a pandemic that's growing and it's rife through the Muslim community across the world. And my background is from Canada, and growing up in Canada, I've seen my own friends and people around in my community that have fallen prey to this. And you see, as the brothers have explained, without taking too much time, that how people lose, first of all, themselves, then their iman. And the iman is that danger. Sometimes people go to other rehabs and they get treatment, but what happens is that they lose their faith, right? And to lose their faith and leave this dunya without iman is the worst thing that can happen to us. So we've seen people losing themselves, their family, their children, and it just goes on and on.
So this center, this work that you're doing, not only are you just bringing people back to normality, taking them off drugs, but you're actually doing a lot more than that. You're saving their deen.
Definitely.
You're saving their iman, which will be a protection for them in the hereafter.
For sure.
Subhanallah. And as we heard earlier, that brother then or sister can then become a da'i and a propagator to other people.
Yes.
And then the circle goes on. So you just help one, and that snowballs.
Indeed. And this is something that plagues everyone. I know of an imam back in Canada that fell prey to this. And
An imam,
yes. And he's open about it, and he'll discuss it, and he'll talk about it. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get him on. It was a short notice. But unfortunately, it can happen.
We have a call. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
MashaAllah, brother, your name?
My name is Mr. X. People know me as Mr. X.
Oh, MashaAllah.
Because I like to stay anonymous.
Yeah, MashaAllah. What would you like to say? Would you like to make a donation?
I would like to say a couple of words, because thanks to Allah, first of all, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, and the second one is thanks to the community, especially Mr. Afzal. Because of him, I recovered, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. And Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. And I was in a bad situation, but Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.
So you were an addict that has been supported?
Yes, I was an addict. I was really, really bad situation, but Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, I recovered. And the most thing what I want to say, people who are addicts, and especially who are Muslims, what helps me is my night prayer. My night prayer, because I used to get up in the middle of the night and I used to cry my head off.
The tahajjud prayer used to help you.
And the prayer used to help me. The night prayer helps. Subhanallah al-Azim. I don't know how to explain it, but the night prayer helps, because there's nothing between you and Allah.
There's no barrier that's between you and Allah, but you were brought to that stage with the support that you were given, alhamdulillah. And are you in a better place now, brother, mashallah?
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. I'm a father of 7 children.
Mashallah.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. And I'm in much better place. I have a full-time job. I'm much better place.
So Jazakallah, you'd like to say to ask people to support this organization, so more people like you can come out and look after your family.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Jazakallah khair, brother. Jazakallah khair. So much for your call. Okay, brother. Yeah, actually, we've got another message. If you would like to read this message out, that's just come in.
Please support Spinney Hill. This issue is hidden due to stigma and judgment from the community. Drugs and alcohol abuse is indiscriminate. It affects people of all backgrounds, young and old, affluent or otherwise. It is our collective responsibility to help those in need.
And just as you said, it affects everybody. You said an imam in Canada was affected.
Yes.
Gee, so it does affect everybody.
Can I just add something here? One thing that the community need to understand as well, this isn't just a male issue.
Yeah.
It's affecting a lot of girls.
And we have the
and a
sister
lot
show
of
coming
women
on,
as
so
well.
please tune into that. We'll be
Yeah,
listening to victim testimony there as well.
Because people think that it's only affecting the boys or the males, or the issue is very deep, a lot more deeper.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, the cases that I've worked with, girls can take it to a different level. And I've come across girls who are unfortunately in a situation where they're selling their own bodies to fund their habits. And this is a reality, and this is Muslim girls. And where I come from, I speak a lot about this, where sometimes people talk about it being a Pakistani issue, or a Bengali issue, or an Indian, Gujarati issue, that kind of stuff. Trust me, there's no such thing. It's affecting all of us, from all backgrounds, regardless of where you subcontinent you come from, what part you come from. It's affecting every single one of us.
So it's devastating for anybody, but to hear that for those of us, they're all our daughters, they're all our sisters. They start off in one phase, they move on to another, and the sheer desperation. We heard Hafiz, when a person wakes up in the morning, goes to sleep, all they're thinking about is that fix. And then with our sisters, unfortunately, there's another avenue for them to make access to that money, and they will, because they are not the person that they were, they resort to selling themselves in order to just get that fix. And these are our girls. These are our daughters. This is something that we cannot turn away from. As a brother very eloquently gave a fantastic example, that, if the house is burning on the right and the house is burning on the left, we can't feel that we're okay, because eventually it will destroy and erase our houses as well. So if there was one testimony, that is extremely shocking to hear, and it's something that people don't want to talk about. But I think it was a really important point that you raised.
It's reality.
It's the reality, and these brothers and sisters are taking this. And it's not for everybody. Nobody, I couldn't work in an environment like that day in, day out. But it's my duty to support those individuals that are working in this environment. And that is why brother was explaining how important the dini aspect of it is, without the judging, but just with the love. Taking them to Allah. It's our job to take them to Allah, and then it's Allah's job to do the rest. So you were saying, brother.
So yes, as I was saying about the Imam, so he went down this path, and he was affected by it for quite a long time. And him being in that position had to go through many battles, especially battling it alone, because of the stigma that it comes with, and trying to get through it. But alhamdulillah, after a very long time with different various methods, because there's no professional help and there's no organized structure like Spinney Hill is trying to put together, it took him a long time to get out of it. Alhamdulillah, now he has, and he's a means of helping many other people.
So can you just imagine how many other people must be out there calling out and screaming out for help, but there's just nobody to give it to them? People that we think are normal, they've got a good job, they've got a good family, they're an imam, they've got, and yet we don't know that they may be struggling, and there's nobody out there to support them.
Definitely. I've got an interesting story that, it happened, and I was part of it. I wouldn't believe it if I wasn't involved, if I wasn't there to see it firsthand and to meet this person. So I was in Jamaat in London, and when for Jawla, and knocked on a door. Somebody told me this young man is a Hafiz. Haven't seen him for ages. So we went, alhamdulillah, opened the door, and he was so relieved that we came. So he opened the door and he says, "Please come in." So we went inside, and from doing drugs to selling drugs, it came to a point where somehow he got through this into devil worshipping. It just completely blew my mind.
So he was a Hafiz al-Quran.
Hafiz al-Quran.
My brothers and sisters, we've heard of sisters having to sell their bodies. We've heard of an imam becoming a drug addict. We have become a Hafiz al-Quran who have gone into the realms of devil worshipping all within 5 minutes. And this is under our noses.
And if I didn't meet him and I seen the evidence, the body marks and all the stuff that he had, it's hard to believe that. It's really hard to believe that. And obviously, when you deal with people like that, you have spiritual negative energy that affects you as well. So, this thing is there. It's in front of us, and we as a community need to now discuss these things. We need to now bring it to the forefront and start to realize, like brother said, if we don't do it and if we don't take action, then one day it can affect us, and if not us, and our progenies to come. So it's very, very, very important that we take this approach and deal with it holistically. And from the spiritual side, it's important that we engage our brothers and sisters. They come at different levels. So in Spinney Hill, what we do is we see where they are, and according to that, alhamdulillah, we try to encourage them to get involved and to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And one of the most important things we have to remember, and it's a message for everybody, is that we have to remember that, and we try to inculcate into them that you have to remember that Allah is our creator. Our enemy didn't create us. It was Allah, is our beloved, who created us. So for us to...
The one who loves us more than our own mother.
Definitely. The one who is the most loving has created us. And to instill in them that Allah has got your back. Allah will take care of us. Allah is with us. And by as we heard the caller, that how it makes such a difference when we have Allah, when we believe, because this drug issue is so deep, it takes you in such a dark place that once you lose your family, people who have gotten divorced, they enter this dark hole, a rabbit's hole. There is no hope, there is no way to come back. What hope they have is that spirituality, that trust in Allah, that love in Allah. And that really, really makes a difference. And that's why spirituality is a big part of it.
So you are putting a light into darkness for people who are completely in the dark. Alhamdulillah. So please donate for this light, for shining a light. And once we shine the light, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will do the rest. You know, we've got a very interesting question here. Are Spinney Hill Recovery a registered charity? In the process, but not at the moment. It's not a registered charity. It's a not-for-profit organization. We can still donate, inshallah. And then we can discuss the tax implications later, inshallah. So the people of Leicester, mashallah, very, very, very careful with their tax money, but inshallah, donate. You will be helping a sister who has no other avenue but to sell herself. You will be helping an imam. You'll be helping a huffaz. You'll be helping your own children. You'll be helping your own brothers and sisters by just picking up that phone and donating, inshallah. So this is, you're listening to Radio Ramadan. My name is Shaka Adam Patel, and we are having a pledge day for Spinney Hill Drugs and Alcohol Addiction. And we're only asking for £250 that will help an individual to go through a complete transformation process. We have 10 donations of those. The whole package is 2,500. If somebody can donate 2,500, that would be absolutely phenomenal. And these are successful, right? I mean, I've got people here who've been working in the field for many years. So these are completely successful. The center, which is, we heard earlier, it's a real safe haven. People can come out, people can sit there, there's facilities for them to use in there, there's somewhere there, they're not judged, they're filled with lots of love, lots of program, and that's we're only asking for £200 for each individual, and inshallah if we can get 200 people to donate £200, that's the whole year that they don't have to worry about their bills and their rent, etc. Transforming a Life package is counselling sessions, just 12 counselling sessions, which cost a total of £540. So we're only asking for £45. If we can get 12 people to donate £45, that will get an individual to go through a complete, as we're saying, a holistic program of rehabilitation, and to please give an emergency food package. We're only asking for £30 to assist these brothers and sisters who are in the bottom. At the day, on the Day of Judgment, we will be asked for what we did for those that were less fortunate than ourselves. And this may be the amal that you help somebody that may be the difference and take you into Jannah al-Firdaus. So inshallah, my dear brothers, we've heard some amazing testimonies so far. What takes individuals who have busy lives themselves to step out their own home and pick up these people and set up this organization? What takes an individual who comes from an extremely good family, who unfortunately, for external reasons, but by the grace of God, by Allah, it could be us, lost his own leg because his addiction got so bad that there wasn't a vein left in his body to inject in. And now he has turned it around and he's helping everybody that he can and setting up centers as well. So just pick up the phone, give a small donation, and inshallah this would be able to help humanity. And you save one individual, you're saving humanity. Inshallah, is there any other words you'd like to say?
And it's a blessed month of Ramadan as well, and as much as we can spend in the path of Allah in this month will multiply many fold, and great blessings, especially in the last 10 nights of Ramadan, that we do give out for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to save lives, to save families, to save children's kids, the people who are involved in it, their children, you look at them and you just want to cry because they're such beautiful children, innocent people.
And they're the victims, aren't they? The innocents.
And
then it happens to them.
And then they grow up in that environment, and they grow up seeing this kind of environment around them. And like you say, it happens to them.
Yeah, Brother Khalil, it's a powerful message that if we do not stop it, it just perpetuates and a cycle continues. Brother Naeem, any final words, inshallah, from you before we get our next?
I suppose for me, is one scholar told me once, to be part of this project, inshallah, to save one life, that could be a means of your success in the year after. To be part of this project, to save one person or help one person, we don't understand and we won't see the fruits of that until we go into the year after. And that itself could be a means of us entering into Jannah.
Ameen. Those powerful words. Brothers and sisters, please pick up your phone. You've heard some powerful testimonies already. There's been heart-moving testimonies of a brother that was brought back to his mother and how she was on her ill bed crying because she couldn't recognize the son that she thought that she had lost forever. We've heard about our sisters who are having to resort to the unthinkable in order to feed their habit. And these are daughters and sons of good families, of people that we know. But due to misfortune, due to bad luck, we are not here to judge. So please pick up the phone, 0116 4822 086. Brothers and sisters of Leicester, our pledges are not looking very, very good at the moment. I appreciate it's mid-afternoon, but inshallah, please come and call. Please make a donation. You can make a cash donation outside on Evington Road, outside the Chaiwalas. You can call in the studio, 077 488 55055, and make a pledge. We're not asking for too much today. An emergency food package for £30, a Transformer Life package for only £45, supporting the centre for only £200, and saving a life for £250. Please pick up the phone. Please pick up the phone and encourage others to. MashaAllah, since then we've had a few more donations come in, alhamdulillah. Another £100 has come in. Allahu Akbar. Takbir.
Allahu Akbar.
MashaAllah. Now, alhamdulillah, we're going from we've got two other individuals that have joined us in the studio. And I feel a little bit torn, I must admit, speaking to these individuals, especially as we're talking about addiction. And these two brothers are purveyors of a substance, a hot beverage, which unfortunately myself, my family, and many people that I know are addicted to. So I don't know whose idea it was to have these two brothers, I'm going to call them because I'm in in polite company, mashallah. But if Brother Mustafa would like to introduce himself.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I'm Mustafa from Chaiwala.
Yeah, and there's other purveyors of hot tea drinks available as well. And mashallah, and your name is, brother?
So Abdul Ghaffar. I'm here of courtesy of Mushtaq and yourself, Shukr, only for many years. So.
And Abdul Ghaffar is the money behind Chaiwala as well. So inshallah, we'll be getting a donation.
We say money as in like counts the money, not gives the money.
MashaAllah, alhamdulillah. If you guys come closer, listen, brothers. Look, first of all, joking aside, you guys are very, very busy. We've got a last Sunday before Eid. And I know Brother Abdul said that he knows Brother Mushtaq as well. Mustafa, I want to start with you. Because we had the conversation that, Shukr, I want to come on this show. You've got a lot to do. There's lots of charities out there. Why do you think this is important?
I think it's this is really close to us, actually. And like we were speaking about previously, this is something that we can easily ignore. It's really easy, actually. Even I was thinking about it a lot just yesterday after we spoke. That if I'm driving down the street and I see somebody that's struggling with whatever kind of thing, sitting on the side, it's so easy for me just to look forward and just carry on straight. Carry on, get to where I'm going, carry on with my day with my comfortable house and my children in a very comfortable position. And I thought about that. I thought, and nothing will really change. But it's later. That's the biggest worry. And I worry about my children. Look, now my oldest son is now started secondary school. It's scary. When I think about that, he's already in secondary school, and the people.
Just interrupt. We've had a question here. can you give zakat money for it too? At this moment in time, no, unfortunately, we're not taking zakat money. That is something maybe we'll be looking at in the future. But Jazakallah, we will take any other type of money, but not zakat money. So please, inshallah, do donate. Please do not put that off. Jazakallah, so carry on.
Yeah, no, so like I was saying, it's a worry. As Yusuf, my oldest son, as he grows up.
How old is Yusuf?
Yusuf's 12 years old now.
And we heard that the youngest user so far was a 12-year-old boy.
There you go. That I didn't know that, but that's even more worrying. And I think as he gets into different companies and the education...
Drug and alcohol addicted at 12.
Wow. Yeah, so that just kind of sums it up for me. And are we only going to worry about it when it comes to our own households? That's the question. So, when I think about it a lot, I think, we have to do something. We've got to step out of our comfort zones. We've got to get involved. Wherever it is, there's a lot of ways we can help with this charity. And alhamdulillah, obviously our city, there's a lot of charity that goes on in our city. We're so blessed. We have the best looking masjids. Every type of finish that we require is available in masjids. Alhamdulillah, we help everywhere around the world. When it comes to Ramadan, we raise money for any type of calamity or war zone. But this is a certain war zone we've got locally that we've got to think about. Because
charity starts at home
exactly.
as well.
And if we walk away from this now, what's the future? And we really can't let it spiral out of control. I mean, over the time you guys have started, Mara Safraz has been, really in touch with us, coming in and out of the office and telling us about situations and so on. And, without mentioning any names at all, but when you hear about it and he'll just say something like, oh, it's somebody you've probably seen before or somebody you knew locally. And when you think about that, you start wondering, and friends, and again, we spoke about this yesterday. I think of like some of my friends in school that were kind of getting into, drugs at a younger age and stuff like that. I look at them now, 20 years later, they're still in a bad way, if not worse, and do we, sometimes you think, is somebody going to grow out of it? But I don't think they do.
It destroys potential.
100%.
It destroys. We've heard stories today of normal and loving and caring and kind and intelligent and articulate individuals that get grasped by this evil,
yes,
and they become a completely different human being.
Yeah.
And as you say, if, so many people have lost their potential and so many people can. And the brother gave the example that you were giving, that, if my house is getting burnt on the right and my house is getting burnt on the left, because I'm okay, we can't ignore it.
Exactly.
And as strategists, as business people as well, that is the focus that we will take on our business. Definitely. So going from the best looking masjids in the country to the best looking worshipper in the country, Abdul Ghaffar, what mashallah, what would you say would be your, even if you hadn't known one of the founders of this organization, why would you say to people at home that we should support this?
Yeah, I think it's a very good question. I mean, if you look at it, someone just asked the question about whether they can donate this as zakat, and obviously they can't. But, as a community, we do a lot. We do a lot in terms of donations across the world. And they're justified in terms of the donation we gave to Syria, Turkey, all these places, and we contribute as a community really, really well. And the reason why we do that, and look, we're what is it, 7% of the population
just under
in this country, the last census, right?
Yeah.
And if you think about it, we contribute so much in terms of millions to our brethren across the world who are suffering.
We are as a faith group, as the highest donators in the country.
Fantastic,
Muslims, yeah.
right? And this is brilliant. And the way we do it is because our community is there, and we're successful, we're thriving. Not in every sense, but we work hard and we make sure that the people who are suffering around the world, we can contribute. Now, this is only possible because our community is strong and we're healthy. Now, when we look at this issue in terms of drugs and everything else, again, we feel that actually it's not going to impact us, right? It's something that we don't see on a daily basis, or we're not familiar with it, so therefore it's not going to impact us. But it does. Right, and it can impact. As Mustafa said, you said that 12-year-olds, you can have a child as young as 12. Now, these addictions obviously, create a problem within our community and the society, right? And that in itself will make our society and community weaker.
SubhanAllah, brothers, while you were talking, mashallah, takbir, we've had £1,000 donation. Mashallah, Allahu Akbar. Takbir!
Allahu Akbar.
Mashallah, carry on, brother.
So when you look at that and you think to yourself, well, the contributions that people need to make with respect to this is that it's important, because that one, if we have a weak community, those people who are actually, we've given so much money in Ramadan, in various causes and justifiable, but if you think about it, these will not be possible if we don't have a strong community.
So we've got a strong community, we're doing well for ourselves, mashallah. We've got issues like every community does. our contribution seems to be, as Brother Mustafa and you're saying, that, no, mashallah, it's not easy, but easier to give to tangibles like refugees, victims of earthquakes, victims of war, hunger, poverty. This is under our noses. But because we cannot see it, we feel we don't need to donate to it.
And it's possible because we are where we are now. If this becomes an endemic, and you find, and you've seen communities, I mean, I don't want to get into Australian politics or anything like that, but you see whole communities that have been ravaged with drugs and addiction, which would mean, what does it mean? The communities don't thrive and they're suppressed as a consequence. It
becomes out of control as well.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the biggest fear, isn't it? Is it getting out of control? I think another problem we have is right now, the Western world, we live in.
Can I just ask you to read that message, please, Brother?
Bilal Muhammad, £20 for Sadaqah.
MashaAllah. Jazakallah, Brother Bilal. Ji, carry on.
So with society that we live in and social media and everything, unfortunately, if you look at the way the world is success, especially on the non-Muslim side of it, is all associated to alcohol, drugs, music videos. It's all full of it.
And that's an aspiration for our children.
Unfortunately, our children look up to some of these social media guys that they're covered in, they're surrounded by alcohol and all the other harams of the world. And that's what they think, if you want to be successful, this is the future. And that's what we've got to work even harder now, because when we were young growing up, social media was not around. So, I mean, I'm not...
this is a really important point, and it hasn't been brought up. It hasn't been brought up, so this is really important.
And let's be honest with you, we didn't see, if ever, I remember, alcohol, if we ever went somewhere and we saw alcohol, it was the biggest deal ever. Let's be honest with you, we all travel the world, we holiday everywhere. All you see is alcohol. Drugs is really, really big there. And somebody taught me this once, and alhamdulillah, I've been able to do it, and I think we should all try this, is somebody told me that when you get to a hotel room, and alhamdulillah, we're all so fortunate enough to be able to start traveling around the world and places, is get your minibar emptied first, yeah? So the first thing you do when you go into a hotel room is most hotels have alcohol and so on, but get your children to do it. And you know what? It's now become like a race for my two boys who can ring reception first to get the minibar emptied. I think, if we start getting into these kind of...
Some practical tips there, yeah.
Something that we never used to have to ever worry about. But
that's a question, though, because you both live in the corporate world.
Yes.
And mashallah, you're doing very successful. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you even more barakat in your businesses, inshallah. So, going forward, if you do not lay these foundations... How damaging do you think it'll be for our children?
I think it can easily become the norm. Alcohol. We have this policy that we've always worked on, is that we'll never let anyone sit on the table with us and drink alcohol. If we're having dinner with clients or anybody like that, if they want to drink, they can do that in their own thing, but nobody else is. Slowly, our children are being accustomed to seeing tables with Muslims with alcohol on it in other parts of the world and stuff like that. Is it going to just become something very normal for them? Oh, it's okay. I mean, I went here and I saw something, or this person, my dad says, he's on drugs or something like that. It's not normal. We've got to make sure this educating side of it's so.
How common would you say, Brother Abdul, is in the upper echelons of society? So we've been talking today, and a lot of people think, it's those people that live in poorer areas, those people that are not educated, those people that don't have. But Brother Mustafa has touched on something here, that even the successful sort of measure themselves by how much they surround themselves by these devices. Have you witnessed it? What would you say about that?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's not confined to any particular community. It's not confined to any demographic, right? It's obvious. Look, more demand there is, the more supply there will be, and the supply will inevitably, cross all regions and areas. And we've had instances where people are not from from wealthy backgrounds. Now, addiction's an addiction, right? And it's important that we deal with it. Now, I'm looking at the pledge, and it's there, but it's still disappointing.
It's weak. Think about it. It's weak.
Come on, bro. This is why we've got you two heavyweights on.
I think, Gaff, I think we need to mention, any of our family that are watching right now.
Absolutely.
You've got no choice. You guys need to put some money on.
Look, Sunday is I don't know if it's in every household, but in our household it's takeaway night, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm going to put my takeaway money.
Mashallah. How much is your takeaway, brother?
Well, he normally eats steaks at Nusrat, so he has 800 steaks.
He's got a family of 10 steaks, yeah?
You know the funny
10 steaks. Brother Abdul Ghaffar is donating 10 steaks.
And the funny thing is that when you walk outside of Co-op or anything here on Evington Road, and you see somebody who's a druggie or anything else, and then he asks you for money, and you say, well, actually, you know what? I'm not going to give him money, right? Because he's going to go and buy drugs or things. Well, here's an opportunity to give some money now to avoid somebody taking drugs or anything like that.
You made a good point there. So what's the first thought we have? The first thought we have is, I'm not going to feed the habit.
Yeah.
But guess what? Let's feed the habit. We're going to feed the habit now, but we're going to feed it from the right angle.
Exactly.
We're going to give them the right food. Instead of giving them, that should probably be something we push on, is our whole concept is about feeding the habit. But we're trying to feed it with the right stuff. If you're not well, and for example, someone like me who suffers with gout, I'm not meant to be eating meat. So if you keep on feeding me meat, then you're just making it worse. But I'll tell you what, give me some clean foods.
Absolutely. This is what they were saying earlier.
£30, I mean, it's not a lot.
It's not a lot
I mean,
at all.
I know it's not, I mean, I say that it's not a lot, but of course,
For us, for how much you people spend on Evington Road on an average day, on London Road for an average meal, this is not a lot. This will see people through for weeks. And while they're having this basics, the brothers can concentrate on taking them off the drugs.
Yes.
Because they haven't eaten, they haven't washed, they haven't cleaned, they haven't taken their basic medication, they haven't got a plaster for their sores. This will just provide them with the basics, so therefore then they can have the more holistic and professional therapy to take them off the drugs. So brothers and sisters, look, we've got, mashallah, Brother Mustafa here and Brother Abdul Ghaffar from Chaiwala. They have a network out there. I know they have a network out there of friends and family and loved ones. Pick up the phone. Pick up the phone and encourage other people to donate. Your call will be a stimulus, inshallah, for the rest of the community. And you've heard, look, it affects every aspect of society. We've heard a heartbreaking story today of sisters who are having to resort to selling themselves in order to pay for their fixes. And these are girls from our families, from good families, Muslim girls. Just think about that. We have had an imam who became addicted. We have a hafiz who these brothers have met personally and have taken them out. So it's not, as Abdul Ghaffar said, this is not affecting one aspect of the community. It's every aspect of community. It's not a case of I'm okay, Jack. It's going to affect everybody. So inshallah, be a part of that.
And look, donation is not a choice for us. It's not a choice.
You're right. That's a good point.
It's something that we must do, right? Because it is on our front door, right? And this is people, and look, we're all busy, right? So we can't spend time in doing this sort of thing. But you have individuals who have so much going on in their lives. We know Mushtaq has a lot of stuff going on in his life, but yet they
still make time.
They give that time, right? And here's an opportunity to allow these guys to do this great work, which kind of helps us, right?
No, I agree. And I think again, I'm going to go back on because I can't see this number going up. It doesn't seem to be going up at the moment. So I think we need to. Working. Yeah, I'm hoping there's a glitch here somewhere, and there's thousands of pounds that have been donated.
I think our producer has actually left his seat, so I'm not quite sure if people are going in.
That's the worrying thing, because I think I'm going to lead out to everybody that knows me.
In our family.
Yeah, well, the family to start off with, but let's be every single person that knows us.
So that's the Pirani family under?
The Ismail family,
the family, the Suleiman. Oh my God. Heavyweight names.
My in-laws, I'm dropping some names here, guys, and I'll tell you what, anyone that's
you're on the air now, Ali Muhammad, Osman, Suleimans, Biranis.
I've just been told. Actually, I've been told it updates automatically, so that's really, really annoying now, guys. Come on, this is anyone that knows us. I want you to stop for a second and say, okay, I know Mustafa or I know Abdul Ghaffar. I'm going to put some money down. And if you don't, we'll never know. But still, we want you to. You've got to, somebody, anything, guys, starting from £30 on the emergency food. I've got a few uncles that I need to try and get to my phone now. These £2,500, they can be easily released.
So the £2,500 is a complete package. They take people from the gutter. Literally, they are on the verge and make them drugs free.
And look at that. You know what it is? It's like when
saving a life.
And when you save a life, there's a multiplier effect. Because we saw a brother earlier, he goes out there, he speaks to people, prevention, cure, everything. What you have is, you're not just saving one person.
You're saving the entire. And also we just heard that when children see their parents addicted, both mums and dads, they're most likely to become addicts as well.
No, you're right. And look, it's a full treatment course. Let's be honest with you guys. £2,500. Look, some of the people we know well, and a lot of people we know well, mashallah, they're earning good money. They can easily afford to cover that £2,500. And look, you know what?
And we can
imagine changing somebody's life, and it's not just their life, because again, somebody I know who's stuck in this situation, I look at his children, I look at his wife, and you know what? Actually, you're changing the whole family's life. And
let's go for flip side. £30, right?
Yeah.
That's 2 weeks worth of food. The amount of food we have on our table.
Exactly. But no, look.
The name of the account, as is asking, is Spinney Hill Drugs. If you put Spinney Hill Drugs and Alcohol Centre, then you will get straight to that account, inshallah.
Yeah, I think. Look. We've got to push it. Look, I'm going to be pushing for the higher end side of it here. Abdul Ghaffar, being an accountant and finance man, he's going to start with the smaller numbers and get the things. But we need someone to get this. We need a treatment course.
Brothers and sisters, please pick up that phone. Please pick up that phone. 0116 4822 086.
And I'll tell you what. We've got to start somewhere. We can do one. We're going to do one as well. Let's do. We're going to do one, and if we do it, anybody else can do it as well.
MashaAllah.
Yeah, so that's from us at Chaiwala. We'll do a full treatment course as well
of £2,500. Takbir, takbir,
Allah,
takbir, MashaAllah.
Take the spreadsheet now.
No, they want that spreadsheet updated, boys. Quickly, move your fingers.
You know what? If we can,
you got the accounts man here. He's not happy.
Family can do this now, and you know
well,
what?
we want our family. Minimum 30.
Yeah, minimum. If we don't get 30 from each family, then me and Gaff are coming round tonight to collect it physically.
It's disappointing.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's really important because, as you say, you know, when you do this, Abdul Ghaffar made a really good point. You're not only just saving; they usually come out and help other people.
Yes,
and
exactly.
it's a cycle.
Yeah.
It's a complete cycle.
Exactly. And you know, we need the numbers. We need more people to be involved. And you know, it's a topic, unfortunately, that nobody wants to talk about.
MashaAllah, we've got another message on the phone. £250, MashaAllah.
£250
as well.
Takbir! Allahu Akbar!
Allah Akbar. That's from Ibrahim Patel, MashaAllah. That's my family coming in as well.
There you go, guys. Come on, we need to get these numbers up, you know.
It's kind of disappointing. Are they asleep?
I'm hoping they're not asleep at 2:30. But yeah, we need to get. No, but you're right. I mean, look, you know, we need the numbers easily. It's something we don't like to talk about.
We got a call. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Who do we have on the line? Hello.
Mikhail Suleiman.
MashaAllah. We got Suleiman. We got a young Mikhail. How old are you, Mikhail?
12.
12. Mikhail, I hear you play football. How did it go this morning?
We won 4-0.
4-0. MashaAllah, Mikhail. Mikhail, would you like to make a donation?
Yes, please.
How much would you like to donate?
£45.
MashaAllah. This is a 12-year-old donating.
Allahu Akbar.
That is amazing. Would you like to say salam to anybody, Mikhail?
No.
No, okay.
I thought I'd get a salam, Mikhail. Thanks.
Or your football team. Who do you play for?
Stonygate Lions.
Under?
12.
MashaAllah.
Well done, Mikhail. Mikhail, now you need to get off the phone.
The account name is Spinney Hill Recovery, CIC. That's the exact name for the account. Jazakallah for the message.
Mikhail, get everybody else now to donate. You need to ring your daddy, ring your nanny. You need to ring Muhammad Mutabaji. Get everybody in the family. Get everyone to donate. We're not on here for long. And we need everyone to start donating.
So, MashaAllah, in the last 5 minutes, we've had £2,500 from the Chaiwala team. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept that, give them more barakah in their business, MashaAllah. We've had £250, and we've had a £45 from young Mikhail as well. Allahu Akbar. We've had some more pledges coming in as well. Look, finally, I just want to ask you, brothers, look, Gav started that, you know, as a community, we've got lots going on for us. What do you see that if we do not support fundamental causes like this, we've got 30 seconds. What would be the future of our community?
You know what? I don't want to think about it. That's how scary it is. I worry, honestly. And beyond control, like Gav said earlier, we don't want it to go beyond control. And I think that's what we've really got to think about.
So in order for our community not to be out of control, please make a pledge. This is one little thing which we think doesn't affect us, but will affect us. Abdul Ghaffar, your final words?
Yeah, it's about containment, right? We can't just pretend it doesn't exist. We have to accept it and go ahead on.
We have to accept it.